Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for the next collection tour update video. I know it's been a while since I've done the last one. I basically was waiting for a bunch of pieces to make their way into the collection, have it all situated just right to show off how everything is now looking. Also, Ryan Kirkwood and Marvel Les have come down. They've sort of helped me rearrange all of the shelves, get the posing just right, make a little bit more space, so there are a bunch of changes since the last one. Now, if you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome to the channel. Hopefully you're enjoying the content, and if you do like seeing the really early hot toys and third-party reviews, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon that is right below the title of this video. Now, before you ask, if you're wondering where I get all of these figures, or pretty much all of them, it's toyswonderland.com, and the link for that is down in the description below if you'd like to pick up any of these awesome 1/6 scale goodies. Now let's start off with this piece right here. Arguably the biggest centerpiece of the room. It is absolutely fantastic, and it is of course the 1989 Batmobile. Now a lot of people have been asking me about this in the recent live streams. I picked this up from toyswonderland.com. Yes, they are still available, they are in stock, the link is in the description below. You can go for a loose version, which is what I did right here, no art box. I saved quite a lot on shipping, but it is still 100% brand new. You can see all the plastic is still on it. Comes with all of the accessories, the wings, the little turntable piece, and of course that shell that goes over the top to replicate the armored look. So these are in stock, and I highly recommend it because, as I said, it just steals the show being the centerpiece of the collection room. Now we're going to basically take a look at each cabinet on its own, and then we're going to step back and look at all of the other little bits and pieces dotted around the room. Now let's start off with this cabinet right here, being of course the Terminator display. A little while ago I didn't have any of these pieces, but I went on a huge Terminator binge. I watched, or should say rewatched, all of the old movies, and then subsequently picked up all of these releases, and I have to say they look fantastic all standing there together. Now thanks to my buddy Daniel, I managed to pick up a second version of that Arnie right there, the Tech Noir Arnie, so I can have the battle damage look on display. It looks absolutely fantastic. Now I know technically this piece right here is the T-800 endoskeleton from Terminator Genesis, but I think he works perfectly fine in the T1 section. Then tucked back there is the MMS Rose Box version of Arnie. Then of course we have both versions of Sarah Connor, and this third-party John Connor figure made by CGL Toys. My lovely wife managed to pick that up for me for my birthday, and I absolutely love it. And then of course we have back there DX10. We've got the T1000, both versions. So how I got a second one was I got a second narrow shoulder body, used the head sculpt and second outfit that came with that original version. And of course, we have a few more pieces on the other side, which we'll get to in just a second. Now, panning down here, we of course have the Ghostbusters, and they look absolutely fantastic. I apologize for the harsh lighting. In person, it looks a hell of a lot better, but as you can see, they're all standing there, and they are all fairly visible. Now, these two are rather recent additions, and they have had their display bases arrive from eBay. I picked these two up from eBay. They look fantastic. The figures themselves I got from toyswonderland.com. They are on M33 Fison bodies. They are, of course, Rocky Balboa from the first movie. Both versions are made by Caustic Plastic, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. I'm very impressed with how this set has come together. And of course, tucked back in there, we have the classic 2.0 Predator. Now moving down here, we have the quasi X-Men Fox shelf. We of course have the Wolverine shrine, which I think is starting to take shape. It looks really, really good. I am still lacking that black suit version of Wolverine. I will eventually get around to it, but I haven't found one for a decent price. Now tucked in the back there, we have X-Men Origins Wolverine, X-Men 3 Wolverine, Days of Future Past, and then a couple of So-So Toys Logan figures. That third-party Storm figure, I'm not sure exactly who makes it, but I managed to find it when I was in Hong Kong with Ryan Kirkwood, and we picked it up. I think it looks really good. Then back there we have Ajax, which is a third-party figure called Axeman. And we'll get to the Deadpool figures in just a second when we look at the other side of the cabinet. Now, tucked down here, it's getting a little bit busy. The bottom shelf is a bit of a mismatch, I should say, with my figures and also my wife's figures, so she has a few pieces down here as well. Tucked in the back there, we do have the two Men in Black figures by Enterbay, which actually do hold up surprisingly well. Now at the front here, we do have a bit of a naughty figure, and that's because it is kind of a recast knockoff third-party piece by a company called Legend Creation, and it is the Hellboy from Hellboy 2. It isn't the official Hot Toys one, but unfortunately he's long since sold out, so that was the best I could do. Now we do have John Wick from, of course, John Wick Chapter 2, looking absolutely fantastic. Still haven't changed that pose because I just love it. Then, of course, we do have Winnie the Pooh and Piglet from Christopher Robin, looking really, really awesome and adorable, mind you. And then up the front here is another new addition. This is Indiana Jones by Sideshow Collectibles. I don't have a lot of Sideshow stuff, but this piece right here was so darn impressive, and I managed to pick it up for a really decent price at the Pop Culture Collector Gallery sale. Now, tucked back there is one of Miss Collection's figures, and that is the Witcher from, I don't exactly know which Witcher game it's from, but either way, it's hers, and I think she really does like it. And of course, tucked back there is Nathan Drake from the Uncharted game series. Now, sitting on top of all of the cabinets are, of course, the quarter scale figures, and you will see them in a lot more detail when we get to the end of this video. But on top of this cabinet, of course, carrying on the Terminator theme, we have the quarter scale Hot Toys T800 Endoskeleton from Terminator 1. Then we've got a couple of Terminator 2 pieces by Enterbay, being of course the clean version and the battle damage. Then of course we've got the T1000 and Robocop from Robocop 3, again by Enterbay. They actually make some really, really good, sort of really nice high-end quarter scale figures where other companies shy away from it because of the size. So if you are looking for quarter scale representations of any of those characters, those are by far the best in my personal opinion. Now, tucked back here on the other side, we do have the DX13. He is unfortunately standing right in the middle where the glass divider is, so you can't get the cabinet all the way open, but trust me, in person, the glare really isn't there. And also, if you're wondering where I picked up these cabinets from, shopfittingsdirect.com.au. They do the cabinets, and they do the clear acrylic risers. For those of you who always ask me, where do I get the risers, that is where you can pick them up. Now, tucked in the back there, we have a new recent addition that I managed to find, again, at the Pop Culture Warehouse sale. That is the Robocop, the newer version, the Joel Kinnaman version. I actually really do like it. Again, it's by Enterbay. I was quite impressed with the quality of the piece. Yes, it's made of plastic, not die cast. It doesn't feel as sturdy as the Hot Toys one, but still, it's a decent effort by the company. And of course, we do have the T800 Guardian and a third party, I think it's called the TX from Terminator 3. It's been a while since I've seen Terminator 3. A lot of people don't like it. I actually kind of appreciate it. It's got its own weird charm about it. Now, we do have a couple of Robocop figures. This is the clean version, the die-cast. Then we do have the battle damage Robo that comes in a 2-pack with Alex Murphy. And then this one right here, I managed to get from a recent, again, the Pop Culture Warehouse sale. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, go back and watch the vlogs on the Pop Culture sale. There are two. There's one where we go to the sale, and there's one where we go through the haul. You'll see I managed to pick up a second Robocop for a really, really cheap price. And there he is, sitting in his chair. Then in the back there is the Ed 209 with the repaired dome. As you can see, it's looking a bit more glossy, but apparently that's more accurate to the prop used in the movie. It was all cracked and I managed to repair it. Now, panning down here, there are a lot of changes since the last time you've seen it. Starting off in the middle, we do have Neo, because the Matrix shelf will be changing and we'll be getting more and more figures as time goes on. Then tucked in the back, of course, we do have Morpheus. He's an absolutely fantastic piece by a company called Toysworks. Check out the review if you haven't already. Now, right up the front here, we have Doc Brown. This is the sort of Back to the Future section. I don't anticipate that we'll be getting any more Back to the Future figures, so this is going to remain pretty much exactly as it does now. Then we do have both versions of Marty McFly. We do have the Back to the Future 1 Marty, which I sold and then managed to get back, thank goodness, because he is a fantastic release. Now, we do have all of the 3-0 DX figures to date. There will be Soundwave coming up very soon, and I am super excited to be taking a look at him. Hopefully they will send me a review sample like they did for Optimus Prime. Those three are looking fantastic. This one right here is the MPM version of Bumblebee. He does fully transform, but unfortunately he doesn't look anywhere near as good as Bumblebee himself. Now, coming down to the Deadpool shelf, we do have both versions of Deadpool tucked in there. We've got Deadpool 1 in the back. Again, I apologize about the glare, but the sort of strip down the middle, I can't really do anything about. We do have Deadpool 2 and the 2.0 version of Colossus. Now, this figure right here is made by Toys Era. This is the Cable, the Josh Brolin figure. He's absolutely fantastic. A lot of people missed out on him. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be another run, so your best option is to go to eBay, and hopefully you'll be able to pick yourself up one. Now, back there is my least favorite figure in the collection. Before anyone asks, because I get a lot of comments about that, that is Dusty Deadpool. I just don't like him. I don't know what it is that didn't connect with me, but he's not my favorite. In fact, he is my least favorite. Now, moving on to one of my actual favorites, being the Ghost Rider figure. He looks absolutely fantastic. I love him. He's got a bunch of flame effects down on his display base, and he looks totally awesome. Now, this is a bit of an X-Men shelf that is a bit of a combination between the newer films, obviously, and also we do have Psylocke, which I know she was in one of the newer films as well, but it was X-Men Apocalypse. A lot of people don't really like it. I personally kind of do, but then again, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. The Olivia Munn likeness, I think, is definitely there, and I really like the way it looks. And we do have a mismatch of so-so toys, and then these three are from Toys Era. You can see that awesome bird phoenix statue looks amazing in the background there, and the other three look really good as well. Mystique apparently is a little bit undersized, so I put her raised up, therefore you can't actually notice that at all. Now, panning down, we have a few more of Miss Collection's pieces. One of her assassins looks like he's leaning a little bit towards that side. I'll fix that later on, but as you can see, we do have Altair and the guy from the Assassin's Creed movie. I keep forgetting his name, but he was in the movie. It's Michael Fassbender, and that figure is actually quite impressive. Check out the review on the channel if you haven't already. We do have this lady at the front. She's from Breakfast at Tiffany's, apparently. I don't know her name, but apparently she's rather famous, and Miss Collection managed to pick her up at the pop culture sale. Then we have these two characters from the Crimes of Grindelwald. That is Johnny Depp, and then that's the other dude. Again, I apologize for not knowing their names, but that is Newt. I don't know what the actual actor's name is, but either way, the figures themselves are really darn impressive, and then all his little creatures, his nifflers, are tucked in his suitcase there, which is really nicely done. And yes, I didn't mention in the review, but all of the newspaper clippings and everything do come for the suitcase, and you can stick them on there. And then tucked in the back there is the DX version of Jack Sparrow, which is by far my favorite version of Jack Sparrow, so that's kind of the Johnny Depp shrine, if you will. Now, moving over to the second cabinet, this one right here is entirely dedicated to Star Wars. So as you'll see, the theme is pretty much carried over throughout the entire thing, even to the top. So at the top here, we do have the quarter-scale Boba Fett, which is looking very imposing. I do think I need to add some lights along the top here to give this a little bit more illumination, or maybe along the front, just to give it that sort of downward lighting that goes up, and it would look really, really ominous, and I really think that's how I'm going to go with these pieces right here. But we do have the quarter-scale Darth Vader as well, which is by far my favorite Darth Vader in the entire collection, and then a bit more Marvel stuff, which we'll get to in just a second. Now, let's start off with the prequel trilogy. Here we have the regular version of Anakin standing alongside the dark side version. I know it's kind of not right to have them standing side by side, but I did manage to fit his Pandroid in the back there. And of course, up front, we do have the ever-evil version of Count Dooku. He looks absolutely fantastic. I love how simple that pose is. A lot of people I know criticize me for my museum posing. Unfortunately, due to the way everything is spaced out, I can't really get too creative, but sometimes I do. As you can see, we do have Obi-Wan standing in there as well. I think that is one of the best Star Wars figures that Hot Toys have ever done, and I do think that about Director Krennic as well, but you'll have a look at him in just a second. Now, this piece right here is from, again, Toys Works. This is the Saber Master, I'm pretty sure is what they called him. It's a third-party Mace Windu. I upgraded the body with a Gang Hood 1.0 muscular body, and I think it worked out pretty darn well. Then panning down the front here, we do have the Episode 2 Yoda, the best 1/6 scale Yoda in my personal opinion. Again, a very simple pose, but I love the way that's come across. Now, moving over to Rogue One, we do have Chirrut up the front there, looking really, really fantastic. I've always loved this Chirrut figure. There's so many different elements, and there's so many bits and pieces all over his outfit. It's very dynamic, and you can pose the hell out of it without worrying because it is all fabric. Now, we do also have that same thing with Jyn being all fabric. You can pose the hell out of her without having to worry about it. The likeness is on point to Felicity Jones. She looks amazing, and so too does K2SO. I figure that's a little bit hard to find now. He is part die-cast, he is amazing, and yes, the eyes do light up. Now, we'll get to the rest of the stuff in just a second. Now, panning down to the second part of the shelving, we do have Tarkin tucked in the back there for no other reason, just because I kind of didn't have room for him. I had actually already displayed everything before I forgot that I had Tarkin and Darth Maul. This was when I was setting up the display originally, when we just moved into the new collection room, and that's where they've ended up. But as you can see, Tarkin is sitting on his chair in the back there. Darth Maul is up the front on his huge display base, which will be hopefully being swapped out with a smaller one when they become available. Now, also tucked in the back there, we do have the Shadow Trooper. I have taken the liberty of removing his pauldron, which you can do to have a bit more of a cleaner look. Now, this piece in the center here is actually the Sideshow Episode 1 Obi-Wan. Now, this figure required a little bit of work. Ryan Kirkwood and I worked tirelessly on this piece. We steamed every single bit of clothing on him. We switched out the robe with the Hot Toys Anakin robe and switched out the body. And might I say, it's looking absolutely fantastic as a stand-in until, of course, Hot Toys does eventually, hopefully, announce their own. Now, the good thing about the lightsaber hilt that he comes with is the fact that you can use it with the Hot Toys blades, because if you know anything about Sideshow's blades, they're really thick and they're really rounded towards the ends. The Hot Toys ones are a lot thinner, spinner, and you can use a swooshing effect with that piece. So I can have him and also the Hot Toys Qui-Gon Jinn battling with Darth Maul, and I think that's going to be an awesome display, at least until Hot Toys gives us an Episode 1 Obi-Wan. Now, tucked in the back there, we have the first of our A New Hope figures, being, of course, the Sand Trooper. I know technically this guy is from Rogue One, but again, I didn't really have space for him, so this is where he's ended up. This is the Jedi Patrol version of the Stormtrooper with the white pauldron. Now, there is an orange pauldron version, which I'm working on getting as well. Now, tucked in the back there is the Death Star Gunner, and then two Stormtroopers, one of which, this one right here, is the Han Solo Stormtrooper in Disguise figure. Now, why he's here instead of with the rest of the New Hope crew on the top shelf, I will explain in just a second. Now, this piece up the front here, a lot of people say shouldn't really be in the front of the collection, and I kind of do agree. This is a Bandai 1/6 scale Stormtrooper model kit. These are a hell of a lot of fun to assemble, and I highly do recommend checking them out. It's a good sort of way to pass the time, especially now with us all being locked inside at home, and you get, at the end of it, a really nice 1/6 scale Stormtrooper that I think fits quite nicely with the rest of your Hot Toys pieces. He's just a very nice crisp white compared to the more yellowy white on the Hot Toys pieces. Now, panning down here, we do have another sideshow piece. This is the Hoth version of Luke, the Snowspeeder Luke. I actually really do love this piece. It's one of my all-time favorites in the collection. The head sculpt is on point, the outfit looks fantastic, and he looks great standing alongside Princess Leia in her Hoth outfit. Now, I do have both Hoth, Han, and Luke down in storage. I might actually move them up into the display. Let me know if that's something you think I should do or not, because that would be a really nice trio, and then I'll move Hoth Luke somewhere else in the collection. Now, we do have the first of the DX07 Lukes. The other one is up on the shelf above. He's just holding his lightsaber, sitting alongside Master Yoda. Then this is the Episode 7 version of R2. Now, why he's down here, it's because he's a little bit more dirtied up, and I think he sort of fits the day-go by look, at least when they first arrived, a little bit more. The cleaner version of R2 is with the A New Hope crew. Now, here we have Bespin Princess Leia, and as you'll notice, I still haven't fixed that nameplate. It's still upside down, but I will eventually get around to doing that. I'm still hoping that Hot Toys does announce a Bespin version of Han Solo, hopefully very, very soon. Now, up the front here, we do have two Snowtroopers. Snowtroopers have always been my second favorite design for Stormtroopers, and that's why I bought two of them. I'm absolutely loving the way they look. Very simple, just posed there alongside this display base with the second one just standing up the front there. I really like the way that that's come up. And we do have the Royal Guard and the Emperor looking really, really fantastic. This is more sort of leaning towards Return of the Jedi. The collection is still relatively small, except for that piece right there, which we'll see a little bit later, and I'm super excited to talk about, but it is ever growing. Now, we do have Return of the Jedi version of Boba Fett, and then, of course, the 2.0, the deluxe version of Luke Skywalker with the windswept hair look, and you'll get a better view of him a little bit later. Now, panning down, I have luckily completed my Force Awakens Stormtrooper collection, starting off there with the TIE Fighter Pilot, the Heavy Gunner, the Officer, then just the normal version, and I've just recently picked up this guy here, which is, of course, Finn in disguise. I actually really like this figure. I don't know what it is about this piece. As simple as it is, I just absolutely adore how it's come across. It's got a very subtle sort of sweat effect on the head sculpt. It looks so darn real. Now, we do also have Kylo Ren, of course, up the front. Then we've got the Flame Trooper, which I recently picked up from the Pop Culture Warehouse sale, which I've said at least 9 times in this video. Then, of course, two versions of the Snow Troopers. The only trooper that I'm missing to date is the Executioner Trooper, which, fingers crossed, I will be able to get very soon. Now, we also do have the Episode 7 version of Luke. That hood was incredibly hard to get posed in his hands. Anyone who owns this figure will know what I'm talking about. And, of course, I do have some porgs dotted around the display base. Now, moving over to the other side of the cabinet, let's talk about the figures in the middle first. We do have, of course, the regular version of the Stormtrooper from Rogue One. Then this guy right here is the Space Trooper. What I'm thinking about doing is swapping him with this guy here. That carries on the Rogue One theme for this central area. I might actually do that right after this video. Then we do have the Shore Trooper tucked in the back there. Now let's move over to the other side of the cabinet, because there are some really awesome pieces on display here. Starting off with the newest, being Director Krennic. I love that figure. The head sculpt is fantastic. It's getting a little bit washed out, unfortunately, because of the super harsh lighting, but trust me, in person it comes across very nicely. The cape isn't too unwieldy. There is actually a wire in the base. It was so light that I didn't catch it in the review, but trust me, it's there. You can get it wrapped around the legs nicely, and I think it looks really, really good. As simple as that pose is, it captures the look of the character perfectly. Now we do have the Rogue One version of Darth Vader, looking imposing as ever. It is still my favourite 1/6 scale version of Darth Vader. Doesn't quite beat out that guy though. I really love the quarter scale Vader as my all-time favourite. Now in the back there we do have only one Death Trooper. I will be getting a lot more when the Mandalorian one does release. The pre-order is live, by the way, with Toys Wonderland. Link for that will be in the description if you missed the start of the video somehow. I will be picking up a bunch of Death Troopers to flank Krennic and of course the Mandalorian, wherever that goes in the collection. I don't yet know. Now we do have the A New Hope version of Darth Vader. He's displayed in close proximity to the Rogue One. Not close enough for you to see that that guy is superior, but still close enough to see that there is a Vader theme going on. And coming down here we have the episode 4 version of Han Solo with that Stormtrooper disguise head sculpt. That is why the Stormtrooper Han is down here and this guy is up here, because he has the head sculpt and I think it really does something for the likeness. I really like the way that looks. Now we also do have the X-Wing Red, I think it's called the Red 5 version of Luke. It's the sideshow figure. I got this very, very cheap at that sale and he's sort of nicely displayed alongside the rest of the A New Hope crew. Now we do have Leia up the front here, which is getting a little bit hard to find, but if you do want to pick one up, I'm sure you can manage to find one over on Toys Wonderland. Then of course we have the rest of the figures displayed on this side being Old Ben. Then we've got Luke Skywalker himself, the sideshow C-3PO, which I think his lights still do work. Yes, they do, and he looks absolutely fantastic. They're getting a bit dim, unfortunately, but they still do light up quite nicely. And then this is technically the prequels version of R2, but then again, he comes with some pieces that works for the original trilogy, I should say, as well. But he's a really, really nice piece just to have displayed alongside C-3PO. Now, I am considering picking up the Bandai version, the super heavy die cast. Apparently, people say it's the ultimate version. I am considering picking him up. Let me know if you think that'll be a good or a bad idea to replace my sideshow figure. Now, coming down to this shelf here, we do have tucked in the back there the Jump Trooper and of course the Shock Trooper. That's kind of the Battlefront section. I really wish Hot Toys did more Battlefront Troopers. There are so many awesome designs, and of course they could dip into the prequel stuff. They could dip into the Republic Commandos, the ARC Troopers. I really hope that they continue their license with Battlefront and do a few more Troopers, because there are so many untapped possibilities there. I would be super excited to pick up even more. Then tucked in the back there, I don't know why he's there. It kind of sort of fits with the bounty hunter motif, but there is animated Boba Fett. Then of course we've got IG-88, Bosk. Then we've got Forlom tucked right in the back there. And then we've got his friend Zuckuss, Dengar, and then my favorite Boba Fett in the entire collection being, of course, the Empire Strikes Back Boba. I don't know what it is about this version of Boba Fett, but it just speaks to me and I love it. And then obviously off to this side, we do have the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, which is my second favorite 1/6 scale figure of Darth Vader, I should say, not of all time. Then we have the DX07 Luke. This is the battle damage figure. Now, for those of you who don't know, DX07 was actually a 2-pack. It was this battle damage version and also the clean Luke that you'll see over here. So you get 2 figures in 1 pack. That stuff really doesn't happen these days with Hot Toys, unfortunately. Now, over here, we do have another recent addition being, of course, the speeder bike. This piece was a real pain to get assembled. There were a few pieces that were sort of a little bit fragile, so do be careful if you are picking one of these up. But once you have it assembled, it looks amazing. It's a centerpiece for sure. Then I managed to pick up the Scout Trooper himself from our trip to Japan. He's amazing, and I love the way he looks displayed on the speeder bike. You could just as easily use this version of Luke to display on the speeder bike as well. That would be another really nice display. That is actually the original Luke. I've used the secondary outfit that came with this one right here, being the Deluxe Luke Skywalker. I've used it on this one to create this look. It kind of hides the fat suit just a little bit, and I think it really makes having 2 figures more worthwhile. Then of course we do have the Return of the Jedi version of the Stormtrooper. I didn't initially like this figure, but I've actually come around to really liking him, and that's why he's displayed quite prominently in this display. But as you can see, there's a bunch of room for more figures when Wicket and of course Leia comes out, and hopefully even more. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for Return of the Jedi Darth Vader. Now, starting off here with the light side and Captain Phasma. I don't really know why she's there, but she is, and we do have the Force Awakens crew. We have Chewie, we've got Han, then of course we've got Finn, and we've got Rey with BB-8 sort of just politely looking up to see what she is doing with that lightsaber. But I think this is a really awesome set. In fact, all of them are well worth picking up. Some of them are getting a little bit more expensive now as people are starting to realize, hey, the sequel trilogy is not that bad. Now, panning down here as well, we do have another recent addition being the Resistance version of Rey. I got her quite cheap again at the sale because her display base has a slight crack in it, but from the front, you can't really see it. So I'm not too fussed about that. Then we do have the Last Jedi collection being the Hobo Luke. I know people don't like me calling him that, but that's technically what he is. We've got Leia. And we've got Kylo, who has shot up a lot in value recently, and as he should, because he's a really, really decent release. If you want to pick him up, I would suggest waiting for the Rise of Skywalker one, which, in my opinion, looks equally as good. Then we've got a Praetorian Guard. Then we've got the Jedi version of Rey, the Jedi training version, I should say, and Crate Luke, doing that classic pose. A lot of people were annoyed that I didn't mention the sort of footsteps in the display base that really shouldn't be there. I know, but Hot Toys did reuse that display base, so unfortunately they didn't cover it up. They should have, but then again, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over that. Then we do have a Sith Trooper up the front there, which looks absolutely fantastic. I love the super vibrant red of that piece there. Then tucked right down here is a little gacha claw game thing from Japan that Miss Collection managed to win on the first go of Dio, the little conehead guy, which was my favorite little addition from the new movie. I know it's a little bit silly, but I loved him in the film. He was hilarious. Now up the top here, we do have a couple more Iron Man pieces. That is the quarter scale Mark III, the quarter scale Mark 42, Mark 43, and Mark 45. We'll get to the Batman figures in just a second. Now there has been a lot of movement in this side of the cabinet. Ryan did a huge sort of overhaul with me on this entire cabinet, and that extends to the one on this side as well, and you'll see that in just a second. But starting off with the Infinity War collection, if you'll remember, these pieces used to be over here. I've made a bunch of space for all of the Endgame figures that are still to come. Now tucked in the side there, we do have the Mark IV version of War Machine, then we do have Bucky the Winter Soldier, then, of course, we do have Black Widow, Thor, Black Panther, and then Groot. Now, that Falcon figure, for those of you who are about to ask in the comment section, that is the Falcon from Civil War. I don't unfortunately have two. I really wish I did so I could have him displayed in both sections, but that will do for now. And we do have Captain America from Infinity War. Now, I also have popped Rocket down there on the base, on Thor's base, I should say, just because I think that really sort of brings everyone together quite nicely. Now, this sort of cylindrical piece that you see the Infinity Gauntlet displayed on, you can get a bunch of different sizes of these from toyswonderland.com to display all your different accessories, and you'll see them dotted around the collection room. So do let me know the timestamps that you've seen all of these. See if you can spot them all in the room. Now you can see I've had the little Outriders displayed on Thanos' base. I think that looks pretty cool. It's like a yin-yang sort of thing, the scorched one and the non-scorched one. I don't know why. I think it just looks a little bit cool. Then we do have Thanos displayed up front there with his mean face on, his gauntlet all raised up. I really like the way that looks. And tucked right in the back there by design, because the figure is an absolute, I don't even want to say anything mean about it, but it's not perfect. Let's just say that. He's tucked in the back there, and that is Red Skull from Minifigure. And then on this side, we do have Star-Lord, Iron Spider. This is the Mark 50 Tony Stark, the sort of nanosuit version. I did use that new body with the light-up arc reactor. Let's see if it still goes. There we go. And I really love that effect. It's so simple. You can just push the button on the back, light up the arc reactor, and I think it works a treat. Then we do have the Mark 50, and then the Doctor Strange with the million arms. Do watch the review if you'd like to find out more about the arms. They are available still, I do believe, on the site. Now, panning down here, we have the sort of solo movie shelf. This was Ryan's awesome idea, just to give all the solo movies a little bit more room to breathe and then blend into Civil War, because we had these random figures that we really didn't know where to put in the collection, so give them their own space, and I think it's worked out really, really well. Now, we do have in the side there, we do have Odin, then Thor from the first movie. Very, very old figures, but I think they still hold up. Then we do have Doctor Strange with his little discs, then Ant-Man from the first movie, then we do have T'Chaka, then we do have Shuri, and the T'Challa set, the DJ custom set, sitting on the throne. Check out the review if you'd like to know more about that set. Killmonger, and then of course we do have Captain Marvel herself, which is an absolutely fantastic figure. I love that piece. It's an amazing release by Hot Toys. Now moving down here, it's a very nostalgic shelf for me. This is of course the Avengers 1 display, more sort of simple time for figures. These were a lot older and they were a lot simpler, except of course for this guy right here, this hunk of metal being the diecast Mark 7, but these pieces are so classic and I love them. Here we have the Bruce Banner and Hulk. Then we've got the Battle Damage Mark 7, which was an exclusive and I do believe is still available online here and there if you're looking for him. Then we do have Thor with the Age of Ultron head that has been switched out. Then we do have Nick Fury, Agent Coulson, Cap himself, Then we've got Black Widow, and then here we have the centerpiece being the Mark 7 diecast. I do need to do something with the pose on him. He's a little bit boring, I know, but we'll have to see. Stay tuned for the next collection tour to see the new pose, hopefully on the Mark 7. Then we do have Loki and Hawkeye just displayed down there. Now moving down to the bottom of the cabinet, this is a TBD space. It's prop replicas for now, but I'm sure it'll expand to figures when we run out of space on the top side. We do have tucked in there, we have Droney, the Captain Marvel pager, a bunch of quarter scale gauntlets, and a bunch of arc reactors in their little display cases. Then we've got the Mark 85 arc reactor and the Eye of Agamotto by HCMY Studios, which I reviewed very recently. Now let's pan over to the other side of the display, which again has seen a lot of change since the last time you've seen it. It is now the dedicated Endgame display. This is by no means the final display at all. Obviously, a bunch of figures are going to come in and fill out this section, but for now, this is how it looks. We do have the shield suit version of Tony Stark, the strike suit cap with the Elite Toys head sculpt, and I think that looks really, really good. Then we do have Armored Thanos himself, one of my favorite pieces in the entire collection. He's big, he's imposing, he's well done, he looks fantastic. Then the D23 cap with the new shield. This is the fully die-cast upgraded shield with the crack in the correct orientation. That is available if you do want to pick it up for your D23 or your Endgame cap. If you are worried that he's not going to have the correct orientation of the damage, definitely go ahead and pick that up. And we do have the little PIM particles that come with that version of cap tucked in the background there. And then we do have the 1970s disguise version of Tony Stark. And then again, I'm going to point it out, but that's one of the clear risers that you can get in that set of all different sizes, so you can display your accessories. So I'm really loving how simple that display is, and it's coming together quite nicely. Now, panning down here, we have the Civil War collection, looking really, really good, might I add. We do have the War Machine Mark III, which still remains one of my favorites. We do have Black Widow, which I think this is my favorite Black Widow to date. When the Endgame one comes out with the sculpted hair, I think that could very well take the cake, but for me, this one has the nicest hair, the nicest outfit, very classic, and I love it. Then, of course, we do have the Black Panther, a lot of people's favorite. I personally do like the newer one better, but I know it still looks really good, really bulky, and I love the way it looks as well. Up the front here we do have the Homecoming version of Spidey, which technically should be with the Homecoming figures, but I'll tell you why he's not there when we get to the Spidey display. We do have the Mark 46 in the middle there with that huge display base. I always hated these huge display bases, but for this figure, I think it works quite nicely. He is the centerpiece of the display after all. Now tucked in the back there, we do have Hawkeye, we've got Ant-Man, and then we've got the Scarlet Witch as well, which recently a third-party version of that Scarlet Witch has gone up for pre-order, and I will be picking up another one for my Endgame display. We do have the Civil War version of Cap and the Winter Soldier as well. So that is the Civil War collection. I think it looks really good, and you can see everyone. I know everyone says that my collection is a little bit jam-packed, but trust me, in person, when you sort of look around, you can see everyone just fine from certain points of view. Now, moving over here, we do have the Ragnarok collection, which is rather simple and kind of jammed in there, but I think it works quite well. We do have the Gladiator version of Hulk, Gladiator Thor, then we do have Hela, and Loki, and then this guy right here, the road-worn Thor. Finally, he's back in the collection. I'm sorry about the glare, but you can see him just fine. This is my personal favorite version of Thor. I love the way he looks. He is so simple, so clean, but I love it, and I'm so glad that he's finally back in the collection. Now we do have the Age of Ultron set. Pretty much all the figures from Age of Ultron. The only two that I'm missing is the Ultron Mark 1 and of course the Iron Sentry, I think they call it, or the Sentry guy, I don't know. I'm missing one of those, and I will hopefully eventually go ahead and pick him up. I apologize for not knowing the name of the Sentry guy. It's been a while since I've watched that movie. A hell of a long time, actually. Now, we do have Vision tucked in the back there. He was originally with the Civil War crew, but now I've moved him down to fill out this set a little bit more. We've got Ultron tucked in the back there, and then we've got Hulk. The good thing about these display cases is you can adjust the height of the shelves. As you can see, these little pieces can go in all of these different holes, so you can get them to be just where you want them to fit in the bigger figures in the collection, like, of course, Hulk and Ultron. Then we've got Quicksilver himself, War Machine Mark II. Then we've got Hawkeye. I'm actually really proud of that pose. It's a little bit basic, I know, but I really like the way it's turned out. And it sort of optimizes the vertical space here, and that way you can see everyone a little bit more. Then we've got the Mark 45. Then we've got Cap, Thor, Maria Hill, Scarlet Witch, and Black Widow. Now, panning down here to the Cap Shrine, it is pretty much entirely consistent of Captain America. We do have the old sort of Star-Spangled Man version of Cap, very, very classic, and I love the way it looks. And tucked in the back there, we do have Peggy Carter, Red Skull, and then the sort of military uniform version of Captain America. I really do like how all of them have come out. Check out the review on Peggy and Cap if you want to see a little bit more info on them. Then we do have the rescue version of Cap. That's actually a third-party outfit set because I never ended up picking up the Hot Toys version, and I'm perfectly happy with that. Now we do have, this is my Winter Soldier section. Finally, I have collected every figure in the Winter Soldier line, starting with Black Widow, then Falcon tucked in the back there. Then of course we do have both versions of the original World War II uniform of Cap. This one right here is the Winter Soldier version, and this one is the original one from the first movie, Captain America, the First Avenger. Let me know which one out of these two you do prefer in the comment section down below. I actually do prefer this one right here, the original, which is quite surprising. Now we also do have Nick Fury in the back there as well. Very, very simple both. He wasn't meant to be pointing his gun at Cap. I might actually have to fix that in another repose, but we'll have to wait and see. Then we have another strike suit version of Cap. Then we've got the SW Toys civilian version of Steve Rogers. Then, of course, the Cap, or I should say, the Steve Rogers from the 2-pack with the strike suit, and the Winter Soldier himself. Now that's pretty much it for the Marvel, or I should say, the first of the Marvel shelves. You'll see the next one in just a second. Let's take a look at the quarter scale figures on top. And now as you can see, yes, your eyes don't deceive you. I do have 2 quarter scale Batman Begins figures. I loved the way Dean Knight had this guy displayed in the first Night Out outfit with the harness and everything. So I picked up a second one from my good buddy Jordan Kane. It looks fantastic displayed alongside this piece right here, being the Batman Begins, just the regular suit version. He does have a custom cape wrapped around him by Jackson Zhu, and it looks totally awesome. Now we do have the Dark Knight Returns, or I should say Dark Knight Rises. I always say Dark Knight Returns. I know I'm going to get butchered down in the comments below, but this is the Dark Knight Rises version of Batman. And then we do have the Joker himself. Now these pieces right here are the clear acrylic risers. They are available from Shop Fittings Direct, and you can basically just pop them down, and then of course you can elevate some of your figures in your collection. For those of you wondering, they're from shopfittings.com.au. Now panning over to the other side of the room, we do have another recent addition in quarter scale, being the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now I do have display bases on all of these. Now for all of those wondering where on earth I got these huge display bases from, they're from eBay. They're from an Australian seller. They're only $15, and they support all of the quarter scale figures. They do say sewer on them, or you can get this a basic black version for your shredder, and I think these figures look absolutely fantastic. The only flaw is they like to fall over. That's why I went for the display bases, and I think they work perfectly for this collection, and that set looks fantastic. I am very impressed with those NECA figures. Now moving over to the second of the Marvel display cases, starting off right here with the Guardians of the Galaxy set. We of course have Yondu tucked in the back there, then we have Star-Lord and Drax, and right in the middle, smack bang there, we do have the original Thanos himself. He still looks really good displayed on top of his throne there. Then we have the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 version of Stan Lee, being the Watcher version. I really like the way he looks. Very, very vibrant in the yellow department, and he's standing front and center as he should be. Now, we also do have Gamora. Then we've got Groot, Rocket, and then a random Chitauri tucked in there as well. I don't know why he's there. I might actually move him eventually, because I don't think he really does a hell of a lot for that display. But standing at a distance, I love the way that looks. Now, panning down here, this is another new addition. All of this is brand new in terms of how it's displayed. Ryan helped me define this Spider-Man shelf, and I love the way it's come across. It is in sort of chronological order, if you could call it that. Starting off here, we do have the Sam Raimi Spider-Man figures. As you can see, Spider-Man 3, the red and the black suit. Then we've got the Amazing Spider-Man here just chilling. I really do like this suit. I know a lot of people don't, but it's so different and so out there. I love the way it looks. And then tucked in the back there, we do have the third-party version of Venom, which unfortunately is sold out now. He is very, very hard to find. Now up the front here, we do have the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and the Electro. And then moving on to some MCU figures, we have the Mark 47, the Gang Hood version of Peter Parker, and then there's a second Gang Hood version of Peter Parker, and then Ned tucked in the back there, with of course a Posing with Peter special, being the homemade suit Spidey. This is one of his poses that I've stolen, and I really love the way that looks. Now moving down here, we do have the Iron Man Shrine. This was another thing that Ryan helped me put together, and I love the way it looks. We have of course this piece right here being the 2.0 Mark 1 Iron Man. looking absolutely fantastic. I do hope that they do a diecast of this very soon, but for now, I still love the way that looks. Now, we do have the Ironmonger tucked in the back there, and an Obadiah Stane. This is a custom third-party figure. That head sculpt came actually inside this Ironmonger. There is a figure, or a torso I should say, on the inside there. I stole the head sculpt off there, got an outfit in Hong Kong, and I really like the way that looks. Now, moving on to some of the diecast figures in the back, we do have the Mark II, and of course, the Mark III. Now, this piece right here is one of my all-time grails. This is the Tony Stark mech test version from Iron Man 1. I don't know what it is about this figure, but I love it. It's so clean, so simple. I love all the detail. The head sculpt, even for back in the day, looks absolutely fantastic. Then, of course, we have Pepper Potts from Iron Man 3. Now, panning down here, this is another new section, being the Power Rangers display. This is, of course, a work in progress. This is by no means the final sort of display for the Power Rangers, but there will be a bunch more Rangers coming soon in the future. I've partnered up with a third-party artist who does custom work, custom Rangers figures, and he will be making me a few to go in this display, so stay tuned to the channel for that. But these are, of course, the Ace Toys Power Rangers figures. Check out the reviews if you haven't already, but we have the Green Ranger, black, pink, blue, yellow, and red. And then tucked right in the back there is one that I still have to review, which is the Medicom crossover, I'm pretty sure they call it, Samurai Red Ranger, who looks really cool. And then two Soul of Chogokin figures, that being, of course, the original Dino Megazord and the Dragon Zord as well. Those two are fantastic. I do have actually another two on the way, which I just bought from eBay, so I will be doing the other display, which is Dragon Zord in battle mode, and that will be going in there as well. Now let's open up the other side of the cabinet and take a look what's up here. Now again, thanks to Ryan, we have reordered this side of the cabinet to be a little bit more Netflix, and also some random sort of concept figures as well. But you do also see a second Infinity War Thor, thanks to my buddy Aaron Jones, who gave me that, and he's displayed alongside the Guardians. Now up the back there, we do have the Toys Works The Boss figure, which is of course Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevil TV series. Then we have the So-So Toys Hero Lawyer, which is Matt Murdock. I love that figure. He's one of my all-time favorites. Again, he's so simple in execution, but he works so very well. Then we've got the custom version of the Frank Castle Punisher from the Netflix TV series again. And then we have Elektra up the front by So-So Toys. She's unfortunately covered by the glary sort of sections of the glass, but you can see her, I'm sure, perfectly fine. Then we do have the two Hot Toys figures, being the Daredevil and, of course, the Punisher themselves, looking absolutely fantastic. Again, very simple on the posing, but I really do think they work. Now we do have the So-So Toys Iron Warrior, being of course Iron Fist. He looks really, really good. That head sculpt is pretty much spot on, and I love the tattoo on the body. Now we do have two concept art figures, being of course the Mark 46 and then the black suit Cap, looking awesome. That, in my opinion, is still the best Captain America. If you're talking solely body proportions, they have definitely killed it with that release. Then of course we do have the Woo Toys Stan Lee. This figure actually comes with two separate outfits. Check out the review if you haven't already on this Stan Lee. He's actually a really awesome release. Now down here we do have a bunch of Spider-Man PS4 video game figures, and starting off with the back there we do have another Infinity War Iron Spider. That figure I actually picked up off Dean Knight, so that is his Iron Spider tucked in the back. Then we do have the movie promo version of the Far From Home Spidey that's meant to go along with that sort of collection right there. Then moving over to PS4 video game suits, we do have the Spider-Punk, then we've got the Scarlet Spider, Negative Suit Spidey, and then the Advanced Suit Spidey. A couple of people asked me how this figure went, being displayed in a dynamic pose for quite an extended period of time. I left him for a good few months in that crazy dynamic pose, and as you can see, all the wrinkles kind of did come out in the suit. He looks really, really good, very clean again, just standing there. Now, I know it's sort of weird to have these sort of meshed together between the MCU and PS4 suits, but if you remember in the game, you could wear the MCU suit, so I think this blends quite nicely. Then, of course, we do have the Toys Era Venom figure with that huge Venom statue in the background there. But I really, really love the way that figure looks. It's a very, very awesome display, very dynamic without having to do too much in terms of posing. Now, panning down here, we do have even more Iron Man goodness. Right smack bang in the middle is the Iron Man Mark IV with the gantry. Again, courtesy of Aaron Jones, who sent me that. That is an absolutely awesome gift, and to this day, I still cherish it. And then back there we do have the Racing Suit Tony, which will be getting an upgraded head sculpt from Top very, very soon, which has the more accurate hairstyle and a really nice likeness to Robert Downey Jr. Stay tuned to the channel for the review on that. Then we do have the Mark V as well, with the suit up sections all sort of moving, and I really like the way that looks. Then we do have Whiplash Mark I and Mark II being the diecast on the right. We do have another Mark IV in the center there, pose courtesy of Ryan Kirkwood himself, looking absolutely fantastic. I don't think I'm ever going to change that pose because I love the way it looks. Now we do have the Tony Stark figure from, I'm pretty sure they call it the Arc Reactor Creation Set. Really simple figure, but I love the way it comes across. Then the Mark I War Machine, diecast of course, and the Mark VI. Now panning down again, we do just have those Power Rangers figures. Now let's move over to the DC shelf. I know a lot of people have been saying, hey, where's the DC love? Well, it's here, and there is a bunch of stuff in here which I know you're really gonna like. But let's start off with the life-size stuff up the top here. We do have a 1-to-1 scale tactical suit Cal with the glasses, and yes, it is fully wearable. We do have the recently released Lightning Collection White Ranger helmet, which was a gift, a surprise gift from my wife when we were at Supernova in Melbourne. She actually sneakily ran off and picked this up with Marvel Les, and I appreciate it. It's awesome. It's a really awesome piece, and it's an awesome gift, so a huge thank you goes out to her. This right here is a newly released piece from Star Wars Hasbro Black Series. It is, of course, the Boba Fett helmet to commemorate the anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. That right there looks amazing. It's an awesome piece. There's detail on the inside. It's very well done. Highly recommend it. Then we do, of course, have another Hasbro Black Series piece. This is the Incinerator Trooper helmet from The Mandalorian. Then we do have the 1-to-1 scale Hot Toys Gauntlet. And then we do have this piece from King Arts, which again is from toyswonderland.com. It's the Tesseract. It's 1-to-1 scale. It's die-cast. These pieces are actually metal, and it does light up. All the pieces do move. It can come off this display base. It's awesome. Highly recommend checking it out. toyswonderland.com. It's a very, very awesome and imposing piece. Now let's talk about some DC goodness. Finally, some DC figures, and they look fantastic. Right here, we have the League. I know, it's not fully complete. We don't have Cyborg yet. However, I am planning on fixing that. Iron Geek 37 is putting together a custom Cyborg that comes with this awesome display base that looks exactly like these. He's going to fit in there very, very nicely. Whereabouts he's going to go in this, I will have to let you know because I haven't quite worked that out yet. But for now, this display is looking awesome. A couple of these figures are going to be getting upgraded with Jackson Zhu capes. Superman is actually one of them. His cape is very sort of thick and I don't like it. That is getting upgraded very soon. But either way, let's talk about the display itself. We do have Aquaman tucked in the back there. Justice League Tactical Suit Batman, which was my absolute favorite figure in the collection until this guy arrived. This is my new all-time favorite, being of course just the regular Justice League Batman. I love the way that looks. Very simple, very clean, but it's absolutely fantastic. We do have the Justice League version of Superman. We do have Wonder Woman and Flash. Now I haven't had any further peeling on the shield, just the same amount that you saw in the review. Just be careful when you're handling it, learn from my mistakes and don't damage your Superman shield. Now moving on to the Man of Steel selection, we do have this piece right here, which is of course Jor-El, being a Russell Crowe figure. I don't have many Russell Crowe figures in the collection, but this one is absolutely fantastic. The likeness is killer, the details are amazing, the suit is very simple, but again, I really like the way it comes across. Then we do have the Man of Steel Superman himself. A lot of people say that's their favorite out of the Henry Cavill Superman figures. I still lean towards the Justice League for my personal collection. Now we do have a third-party Feora figure. She's unfortunately long since sold out, but she's a really, really nice piece. Then of course we do have General Zod up the front there. Trust me, the light isn't as glary in person. It looks more sort of like that, but when you reveal it for some reason on camera, it blows it out. Then we do have the custom Justice League version of Bruce Wayne, that head sculpt on there. Actually, I should say BVS version of Bruce Wayne with the Justice League head sculpt on a strike suit cap body. The outfit is just a generic one I got off eBay, but it looks really good. Then tucked in the back there, we do have the Nightmare version of Batman. And we also do have some mother boxes dotted around. I didn't really know where else to put them, so they're sort of scattered around the DCEU. Now, panning down to this shelf, we have a more sort of classic version of the DC characters, being the Chris Reeve Superman, both the normal version and, of course, the evil version up the front here. Then we do have two 66 Batman figures, being Batman and Robin, looking really, really good. Very, very vibrant in this section of the display. Then we have the comic concept version of Wonder Woman, and I do think if you have these three, you have to pick yourself up that Wonder Woman. I know it's not Linda Carter, but I still think it looks really, really fantastic. Now moving over to these guys right here, we do have the Arkham display, which has had another recent addition, being the Prestige Batman. You'll see him a little bit closer in just a second, but we do have Arkham City Batman with a custom cape on there, and we do have the regular version of Arkham Knight Batman looking awesome. Yes, they don't move a lot. They're very static, they're very statuesque, but I really like how they do look. Then we do have the Arkham Origins version of Deathstroke, and I know he's not technically with his Arkham Origins friends, but then again, there haven't really been any other ones, so I think this works really nicely. Now, panning down to the bottom is some third-party goodness. We do have the So-So Toys Constantine, we do have the So-So Toys Flash, and yes, I know the Hot Toys one will be coming out, hopefully in the near future, so I will be comparing it to this one right here. Then we do have two Zensation figures tucked in the background there, being, of course, the Riddler and the Two-Face from Batman Forever. I can't wait for Hot Toys to hopefully, fingers are crossed, release the Batman and Robin to go along with those two. That will be an awesome display. And we do have, of course, the So-So Toys Dark Speedster, which is Zoom from the Flash TV series. Now here is the Mondo collection to date. We have the regular version of Batman, the Mr. Freeze, and then the Black Cowl version. Very, very nice display, very comic-esque and very sort of animated series-esque with the sort of cell shading. I love the way those figures do look. Now let's pan over to the other side of the cabinet, which does have some new additions as well, and ones that I'm sure you're going to be very, very excited to see. But let's start off with something you've seen before, being the Suicide Squad shelf, but I have reorganized it a bit. Tucked in the back there, you do have Imposter Joker being very creepy. I know you can't really see him, but that's kind of by design. He's creepy, he's ominous. You get a little glimpse of him in the background there, and I think it works really nicely. We do have the third-party Rick Flag, the So-So Toys Katana, then of course, two Harley Quinn figures. I still need to get the dancer dress version. I will get her eventually. Then a couple of Jokers, as you can see. And we do have Deadshot as well, looking absolutely fantastic, leading all the way up to that Batman there with that awesome cape. That is the Suicide Squad version of Batman. Now we also do have Aquaman and training version of Wonder Woman. I don't know why they're here. It's kind of the solo movie section, but I think it works quite nicely. And I still, to this day, love that display base. Yes, it makes him a little bit hard to pose with his feet, but I think it works quite nicely. He's an absolutely fantastic release. Now, panning down here, we do have the rest of the BVS figures. We do, of course, have BVS Superman. I apologize about the glare here, but you can see him, I'm sure, perfectly fine. We do have Armored Batman, BVS Wonder Woman, the Armored Batman with the battle damage faceplate, and then we do have Lex Luthor. This is a custom figure, or I should say a third-party figure by First Rate, and we do have another mother box. This one right here is BVS Batman. And here we have some more new pieces in the collection, being the Joker display. This I'm sure you haven't seen before. This is still a work in progress. This one right here will be going on a body with the Toy Center suit whenever that does arrive. Stay tuned to the channel for a review on him. That is the top head sculpt, and I think that it's one of the best. From some certain angles right there, I think they really do nail it. All of these display bases are from Toys Wonderland. Now basically what I've done here is I've got the Toys Era Joker tucked in the back there with the laughing head sculpt. This is the M-Toys Joker with the Toys Era gun and Toys Era serious head sculpt. And then this is the M-Toys casual version of Joker with, again, the Toys Era head sculpt. All of them are wearing Toys Era sculpts, and I think it works really nicely. But then again, this top one right here also looks absolutely fantastic. So I can't wait to get that Toy Center outfit in and hopefully put together that Joker very soon. Now down here we have the Prestige version of Arkham Knight Batman, which I picked up very recently from my trip in Tokyo. Check out the review if you haven't already. We've got Arkham Knight himself looking really awesome. Then we've got the Futura Knight Batman with the red logo. Then Arkham Asylum version of Joker. Very classic, very evil looking version of Joker with the blood on his outfit. I love the way that looks. Very, very clean and very crisp. Really, really nice piece. Then we've got some classic goodness, being the 92 Batman in the back with his cape sort of swung over there. I will be getting a new custom cape from Jackson Ju very soon for my 89 Batman, so stay tuned there. Then of course we have 89 Joker as well. Now panning down here, we have a few more Batman Elseworlds pieces, being the Batman Red Sun figure with, unfortunately, the worst spray tan that you've ever seen on a figure. But still, I think the outfit looks really good, and I will be upgrading him in the future. We've got the Batman Who Laughs figure, looking very, very creepy, but also very awesome at the same time. And we do have the Star Race Batman. Yes, you heard that right. Star Race did make this Batman. It's the samurai version from Batman Ninja, and he looks absolutely awesome. Now that's pretty much it for the main cabinets, but there are also a bunch of other bits and pieces dotted around the room, including this right here, which is the Funko wall. There are a bunch of Funko Pops. I won't spend too long on this because I know a lot of people don't like Funko Pops, but Ms. Collection and I do collect them, and you can see there are a bunch in the room. And then panning down here, we do have the Hulkbuster, and of course the Mark 43 bursting out of the Hulkbuster. I tricked you all. You all thought that I forgot that I didn't pick this piece up for Age of Ultron. Well, no, he's here, and he's looking absolutely awesome. Just bursting casually out of the Hulkbuster, looking absolutely fantastic. Now we do have some smaller scale pieces in the collection as well. We do have some Mezco releases. Now this is by no means the length and breadth of my Mezco collection. I have a bunch that actually sitting in a box right outside the collection room door. I don't have room to display them, unfortunately, but here are the ones that I've chosen to display. They will be in regular rotation. We do have the classic version of Superman. We've got the classic Flash, then Aquaman tucked in the back there with his screaming head sculpt looking awesome. Then we have Darkseid, John Stewart Green Lantern, and then a recent addition being the Shazam Mezco figure, looking really, really fantastic. Now, tucked in the back there, we do have a couple of the DC Multiverse figures. A lot of people were thinking that they weren't going to be all that good, and even when they received them, they didn't quite like them. I know that they don't look exactly like the source material, but I kind of like that. They're McFarlane's interpretation, if you will, of those animated characters, and I kind of like the way they look. And of course, up front and center, we do have the Mezco version of the Ghostbusters, looking really good. I love this translucent Slimer. The light hits it just right, and he glows. He looks really, really awesome. Now, starting off with the start of my Power Rangers smaller scale collection, there will be a bunch more. You can see this huge empty space here. I've got a bunch of Power Rangers stuff on the way from a new site called mightytoys.com.au. You'll have to check the link in the description below. They have so much Power Rangers goodness. Do let me know down in the comment section if you like seeing Power Rangers stuff, because as I said, a huge haul is on the way. I can do a live stream and show you where I'm going to display all the stuff, and I can even do reviews if that's what you'd like to see. But tucked in the background there, we have the Super Robot Shogoken version of Megazord, and we've got the Super Mini Pla Falcon Ninja Megazord that has been repainted by yours truly. We do have the Dragon Zord that hasn't been painted. Then we do have a second one which has been painted, again Super Mini Pla, that has been combined with a Dino Megazord which has been custom painted. Then we have another Super Mini Pla Megazord that is in his battle tank version or mode. I'm not sure what they call it in Japan, but it's a sort of interim between the Dinozords and actually the full Megazord itself. And we have the entire set of the SH figure arts. I know I'm missing the armored Black Ranger and I am missing the helmetless versions, but this is the classic sort of core team. And yes, I do have two versions of the Red Ranger. I have this set right here and then another set in the Red Ranger Shrine. Then we do have the Lightning Collection version of the Red Ranger, and then a Lightning Collection Magna Defender. And then of course tucked in the back there, we do have the Super Mini Pla combined version of the Super Delta Astro Megazord. I do believe I said that correctly. Those are a lot of words and I hopefully didn't butcher the name of that. Then panning down the bottom here, we do have some Transformers goodness, the Masterpiece Collection. I do have pretty much the entire G1 Masterpiece Collection. Unfortunately, no room to display them, so I've had to select a few that have recently come in. We do have Megatron, MP44 Optimus Prime, then we do have Smokescreen, we do have Hound, and of course the 2.0 version of Bumblebee. Then right smack bang in the center, we do have the Hot Toys Optimus Prime. Then of course, let's pan over to the other side of this cabinet. The good thing about this cabinet is it's a lot smaller and also very, very manageable. Now we do have two more DC Multiverse figures, being of course the Hellbat armor and the Superman Unchained figures, looking really beastly and really awesome. Now moving over to the front here, we do have the only Black Series figures in my entire collection, being the Mandalorian in his OG armor from the start of the series. Then we do have Cara Dune with her big ass gun, then Heavy Mandalorian himself again with his huge gun. Then tucked in the back there, we do have an IG-88. I do need to get an IG-11, but this is just a stand-in for now. Then back there, we do have a Sith Trooper, which was a gift from my buddy Daniel. Now, panning down here are the last of my Transformers figures, being the Beast Wars collection. We've got Megatron, Dinobot, Cheetor, Black Arachnia, Optimus Primal, then this guy right here, which is Optimus Prime or Leo Convoy, or however you want to say it, but I picked him up in Japan, and I love the way he looks. Then we do have this little NECA Spyro, which was a gift from Marvel Les when we were at Supernova Melbourne, and he is awesome. He's got a bunch of articulation, and I really love the way he looks. Now, this piece right here, if you haven't seen it, is a 1-to-1 scale die-cast Thor hammer, and it's awesome. I love this piece right here, one of the biggest and most awesome centerpieces in the entire collection. Check out the review on this piece right here if you haven't already. Now, I just want to quickly let you know about my accessory storage solution before we wrap up on this video, and it's these pieces right here, these clear boxes that you can see all lined up on the wall here. Basically, I store all of the accessories in here. That way I don't have to run out, grab the box, get the accessories out, put them all back. This is a hell of a lot easier than doing all that. And if I am storing head sculpts, I will wrap them in plastic so they don't get damaged rubbing up against all of the other accessories. These pieces don't tend to get jostled around too much, so I'm sure they'll be perfectly fine. in, but that's just me being extra careful. So this is a really neat idea, so you don't have to run out, as I said, and get the box each and every time. And down here I have the quarter scale accessory because those boxes are incredibly large and unwieldy to try and get out when you just want to change the pose. Either way, that's pretty much it for the most up-to-date version of the collection tour. I apologize, it took me so long to get this video out, but as I said, more stuff keeps coming in daily, so I keep having to do these sort of collection update videos more and more frequently, so hopefully one will be coming out very, very soon. Now, if you did enjoy seeing all of these figures in the collection room, do let me know by hitting that like button, and if you do like seeing really early Hot Toys reviews and third-party videos, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as brand new content goes live on the channel. But either way, that's pretty much it. Check out the link down below to toyswonderland.com to pick up any of these awesome figures. Showcases are from shopfittingsdirect.com.au. Same with the Clear Click Risers. Check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the brand new awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.